Have you ever reached that moment in life when you felt like you had lost everything? When no matter how hard you tried, nothing seemed to change? When even your prayers started sounding like echoes in an empty room? Maybe you've been there, broken, tired, and forgotten. But what if I told you that sometimes, when life buries you deep in the ground, it's not because you're being destroyed, it's because you're being planted? Here the story begins, the silent land. In a quiet, forgotten village surrounded by cracked hills and burning winds, lived a farmer named Aaron. He was known for one thing, his stubborn hope. While others had sold their lands and left, Aaron stayed behind. Every morning before sunrise, he would walk to his barren field, his hands rough, his feet blistered, and his heart still full of belief. The earth was dry as bone, the air heavy with dust. The river that once danced through the valley was now nothing more than a scar of sand. People whispered, "Aaron has gone mad. He's planting in a graveyard." But Aaron would smile and say, "A graveyard for some can still be a cradle for others." He still had a small leather pouch. Inside it were the last seeds passed down from his father. Those seeds were more than just crops. They were memories of laughter, of harvests of family. One evening, as the sky turned dark and the wind began to howl, a great sandstorm rose from the horizon. It came without warning, a monster made of dust and rage. Aaron ran to cover his hut, to protect his small storage of food and those precious seeds. But the storm was merciless. The air became thick. The ground trembled, and within moments, his hut was torn apart. When the storm finally passed, everything was gone. His home, his tools, and the seed pouch that carried his last hope. Aaron fell to the ground, his face pressed into the cold dust. He didn't cry that night. He was too empty to even shed tears. For the first time in his life, hope slipped through his fingers like sand. For days, Aaron wandered across the ruins of his land, searching for that pouch. He found pieces of wood, broken jars, and torn clothes, but not a single seed. At night, he sat outside his broken hut, staring at the moon, whispering, "Maybe they were right. Maybe I was the fool." But deep inside, a tiny voice refused to die. The same voice that had kept him alive through every drought, every hunger, every loss. Then one early morning, something caught his eye. Near the edge of his field, a small, fragile green sprout was breaking through the dust. Aaron froze. His heart skipped a beat. He knelt down, his trembling hands brushing the soft leaves. It was one of his seeds. The wind that had destroyed everything had also carried one seed to safety. That seed had found life in the most impossible place, a crack between two stones, where a little rainwater had once pooled. Aaron smiled through tears for the first time in months. He looked at that sprout and whispered, "You didn't give up. So how can I?" From that day onward, Aaron began to work again, not out of duty, but out of faith. Every morning he fetched water from the faraway well, a long, painful walk that took hours. He poured every drop onto that tiny plant, as if he were watering his own soul. Villagers laughed at him again. "Aaron, one plant won't feed you," they said. But Aaron only smiled. "One plant is enough to feed my hope." As days turned into weeks, that one plant grew tall, strong and green, defying the burning sun. Soon it began to bear seeds of its own. When the next rain came, just a short, unexpected drizzle, Aaron scattered those new seeds across his land. And to everyone's disbelief, the barren earth began to breathe again. Green spread like fire across the brown land. The same field that was once dead now danced with life. Birds returned. The air smelled of rain and soil again. The villagers came running, eyes wide with amazement. They asked Aaron, "How did you do it? What magic did you use?" Aaron smiled gently and said, "It wasn't magic. It was faith, the kind that refuses to die even when everything else does." Within years later, people still remembered Aaron, not as the poor farmer, but as the man who grew life from nothing. His story spread beyond the village, a story about faith, resilience, and the quiet power of never giving up. Because sometimes life doesn't test your strength. It tests your patience, your belief, your ability to keep walking even when there's no visible path. When life takes everything from you, your comfort, your peace, your dreams, remember, maybe it's just planting you somewhere deeper. The storms that bury you today might be the same ones that spread your seeds tomorrow. So even if everything is gone, keep one thing alive, hope. Because one seed of hope is enough to rebuild your entire world. The last seed didn't just grow in the soil. It grew in the heart of a man who refused to give up.